Before you, of course, be working on any firearm, you want to make sure it is free and clear of all ammunition. So we'll go ahead and take a look. This is the magazine release here. It is only on the one side, so simply push in on that. That would release the magazine. As we can see, the magazine is free and clear. Open up the chamber area, and we can see the chamber area is also free and clear. So as far as disassembly goes, go ahead and release the bolt here. So you'd want to keep, go ahead and release the spring pressure on the firing pin. So of course we already verified that it's free and clear of ammunition, but still you want to point it in a safe direction. Release the striker. And now this is where the disassembly begins. So to disassemble the Hi-Point 995P, you need to remove the charging handle. This is the rear takedown pins. So there's the lock for the pins. The pins go through from this side, through the entire assembly, and come out on this side, and then they're retained by these two catches. So you have those two pins there. You also have a retaining clip here that retains, this is the bottom of the lower receiver frame. And you also have to remove this top cover here, which is retained by this little toggle lock right there at the top, right here. And to remove this, you need to remove the front sight because there's not enough distance in that space right there for this to slide all the way forward. And you have to remove that to be able to pivot the firing assembly up. So we'll go ahead and start with the front. So the first thing you want to do is you'd want to remove the front sight, and it uses a 5/64 Allen wrench. So go ahead and loosen those. So once that's loose, you can just slide that off. You wouldn't actually have to remove it completely, but you may as well. So the next step would be, we'll go ahead and remove our charging handle. Now they come with a disassembly tool, which you can use for that, and you just loosen that up, and that just unscrews and comes off. And you can use the same tool to lift up that toggle lock like that. And then once that's up, you can slide that fore-end up and off. At this point, we'll unlock our little locks here. Now to unlock those, you would push in on this side. So you just push in on those pins, and while you're pushing in, use this key. It goes into, there's two holes, one right there and one right there. So that would go in, that unlocks, and then you can remove the front pin. Now I will tell you, the first time you go to disassemble these pins are very stubborn. So just be prepared for that. And push in on the back and unlock. Once that's loose, go ahead and remove that. And then once those are removed, then you can remove this section here. There again, you'll want to get some kind of a tool to help you with this, just to be kind to your fingers. So basically, you just need to push up on that. And then that comes off. Now, once you have all those parts off, you need to remove this extractor. Uses the same Allen wrench. Now, I looked through the manual that comes with this, and it does not mention this, and I think the main reason for that is they reworded their existing manual, and they've been making these firearms for years, and this is a new addition. It is an improvement. However, because this ejector goes through the cover, you can't take the cover off unless you remove the ejector. So once that's off, then you can take off the cover. Once the cover's off, you can lift up and out with the inner firearm itself, the receiver and frame, and then you're just left with the plastic stock here. At this point, you could wipe everything out and clean it out. So this front section here, you'd want to take that off. This is our bolt assembly, and as you can see there, it kind of looks, you know, like a pistol slide goes over the barrel. And that is held in place by this pin right there. And to remove that, you would need to unlock this little catch. There again, a little tool of some type. It's very helpful. And you want to basically just move that forward, like so, and then that pin can slide out. Once that's secure, you can pull back on the bolt and lift up, and then it will slide off the barrel. Here's our recoil spring and its little guide rod. And this is as far as you would want to disassemble this. So anyway, at this point you could get access to everything to clean it and wipe it all down. So this is that pin that retains it, and you can pull that out. There's a little pin that goes on the front there that would engage the striker springs. There's two springs that are nested together, and then we have the striker itself. And that's just as far as you'd really want to disassemble that. And you have access to everything in here. So you have the various faces and everything in here. You basically want to clean all this up, clean it all out good, give it a coating of oil. And this is as far as you'd want to disassemble it. Reassembly is just the opposite. So first put in your striker, then your striker springs, then put in your assembly pin, and leave it toward the back there a little bit. Put in your recoil spring. It goes right in that space there under the barrel. Put our barrel through, and then the spring itself will engage on this little section that sticks down. That would engage like so, and then you'd want to pull this back, and then once it's back, put that assembly pin into the hole right there. And it needs to go through the opening in this locking tab. Once that's in place, you can push forward on that. And that's most of this assembly. Then you want to put this retainer back on, and it helps to just correctly hold in orientation between the barrel and the lower frame. You put it in the stock the same way you took it out, so it would, from the back, go in and we'll pull down into place. Put that retaining clip in. And then once that's in place, you go ahead and put the safety down, get your top cover, and there's a metal tab right there that has to go in underneath the stock in that space. So it would go down in there, and then it would slide down and in like that. Once that's in place, make sure your retaining catches are in the right area. We'll go ahead and put our pins in. And put the front one in. And put the back one in. And once it's in position, turn its locking catch. Go ahead and put the top cover on. slide it into place, and then lock the toggle down. Just cams into place. We'll go ahead and put our ejector in. And that goes through the receiver cover, through the bolt. Then put your screws in. And just make sure those are good and snug. Get your front side assembly. Slide it over. And it goes into this little notch in the stock once it's in place. Tighten down those two set screws. Put your bolt back on. And tighten that down. And we are reassembled. I hope that this information is of value, and if you like the video, I would ask that you hit the like button and subscribe if you want to continue to see more like it. And as always, until next time, stay safe.